United TV, I'm Adam. Welcome along to another live show, bringing you completely up to date with everything going on around Manchester United. There is only one subject that anybody's talking about right now. How long will Ruben Amorim last, and who is going to replace him when he does inevitably get the sack? We've got updates from Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano and Laurie Whitwell tonight on the situation at Manchester United. Oliver Glasner ready to take the job right now. Romano saying that Ruben Amorim has until Saturday, inadvertently. Not completely like that, but we'll go into what Romano has said also. All the other news in and around it, and pretty much proof, even by the Athletic standards, who will always sit safely on Manchester United's side when it comes to big decisions and not completely sensationalised reports that are coming out like other reporters do. A piece from Laurie Whitwell which pretty much tells you everything you need to know about what's going on right now and what is going to happen this week if things go wrong against Sunderland. What a day Saturday is going to be. So let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to kickstart the show. Get your live comments in, everybody, and let's get back to what is going on at Manchester United again. From last night, we were speaking about Ruben Amorim, if it's a matter of if, not when, everything that's happening with that. And of course, when you look at everything that we said last night, it's because of the results. This is where the Athletic are running as well with what is happening right now. No matter what has been said, what security Ruben feels he's got and what backing he feels like he's got, everybody's going down the same road. But you cannot ignore the league table. You cannot ignore the way United are playing or the results that are coming out from Ruben Amorim this season. If we don't get the win against Sunderland on Saturday, it will be 2 games won in 8 games to start the campaign. We're then into October. It's international break. By the time we come back, we get beat by Liverpool. We're halfway through October, and you're already talking near getting towards a quarter of the season gone, and United languishing right down in the depths of the Premier League table. That is not acceptable, and that's what will get Ruben Amorim the sack. We'll talk about what Romano said in a minute, but first of all, what Ben Jacobs said last night about Oliver Glasner. When he was talking last night, Ben Jacobs said, in his words were, if he was asked to take the Manchester United job right now, he would jump at the opportunity. He would take it in a heartbeat and jump to Manchester United from Crystal Palace now. That's very, very confident from Ben Jacobs to come out and say that you have to be 100% certain. This is Ben Jacobs, who is floating around everywhere at the moment and is seen as somewhat of a reliable source when it comes to news like this and big breaking news around transfers, dismissals and appointments of managers and so on. For him to come out and say that Oliver Glasner would jump at the opportunity now, and I'm saying that in the way that I am, because he is unbeaten. He's just won his 2nd trophy already. Yes, Community Shield, but he's just beaten Liverpool twice. He's unbeaten in the league this season. He's about to embark on Crystal Palace's first ever European campaign in football. And you're looking at it and you're going, wow. And then again, it's like, even as a Manchester United fan right now, and this of course is if Ben Jacobs is right about this, but like I said, like, why would you say something like that in the way that he has done? So he has to be confident. But what it does show is, if like we said, that is correct, then it just shows you, even as a Manchester United fan, and how much I despise my team at the moment and this club and what is happening. And how we all think that Manchester United are just going to fall off a cliff and just drop off into mediocrity like we are doing right now. We're not even relevant anymore. I mean, someone put a great post up the other day. Was it Jensen, who couldn't even be bothered celebrating? He just scored a goal against Manchester United. He wasn't even bothered about it, it seemed. I don't know his own circumstances and whatnot on that one, but someone made the post like, is this what it's come to right now? Is this where Manchester United are? We're not even a big catch anymore. We're not even a big result if you manage to beat us. It just feels like that amongst the fan base. It just feels like we're just falling away completely. But still, with all of that being said and everything that's going on at United right now, you look at that report from Ben Jacobs, and that is quite substantial. That is big, that you would have somebody to ditch that type of season that's going so well at Crystal Palace to come to Manchester United like that, as Ben Jacobs was saying there. That, I feel, just shows you that Manchester United will still probably always have that lure and that pull. The next manager in line to actually feel that he's the one that can change this team and get more out of Manchester United We did a calling show last night on Big Up, and we were talking about the next manager to come into Manchester United. And if it is Glasner, there was concerns. There was big concerns with Glasner because he plays the famous 3-4-3 formation. Is he going to be as strict with that as Ruben Amorim is? Is he going to be adamant that that is the way and the only way? If there's a manager like that coming in who's going to be exactly the same as Ruben Amorim is with the players that we've got, then I'm sorry, I think the majority of the Manchester United fan base would just say, no, thank you, take that formation and system and stay in London with it. Stay down there. It's not going to come back up here. We've had enough of that. Is Glasner more adaptable? Now, I think the questions are obviously going to be there from a lot of the United fans. If this is the case and United do go and get Glasner, he is on the list. And I think everyone who's relevant and everyone who has really been on top of Manchester United and the stories are saying that Glasner is one of the names on the list. Nearly every single journalist has said it now. So we know that there is genuine interest in him. And we know that Glasner now, according to Ben Jacobs, would jump at the chance to come to United. I think most fans look at that, the 3-4-3 formation that Glasner would play. He's got better players to play it. It's more of a counter-attacking 3-4-3 at Crystal Palace. If he was to come in and maybe adapt it a little bit and not be as strict with it, like I just said, like Ruben is, it's my way or the highway. Well, the highway is fast approaching and it's out the door of Manchester United for Ruben. If someone else comes in with that same mindset again, then it's going to be, what's the point? And you do have to really give consideration to this appointment. Manchester United will anyway, because if you're going to get the same scenario that you've already seen with these players, because the players can't change. Obviously, we've got no transfer window. We've got no way of changing the squad as it is right now. So let's be honest, there isn't much you can do personnel-wise. It's if he adapts this system into this squad again. That's what we're worried about. If he doesn't, and he just goes with what we've got available right now, and actually works his way to get into the way that he wants to play, which is what we always wanted Ruben to do. Like, give it a chance. If it's not quite working, just tweak it, and then maybe move forward and go from there. I mean, for instance, quickly, I just want to bring this one up from last night while we're talking about this. Jamie Carragher talking on Monday Night Football last night. Manchester United's summer signings make it simple to switch to a back four. You could play Bruno as the number 10 and Bumo on the right, Cunha on the left and Benjamin Sesko up front. With that setup, I believe a capable manager could have them competing for the European spots. That's a Liverpool player, former Liverpool player, basically saying exactly what Manchester United need to do. And you know what? It's not just Jamie Carragher. It's the fact that we all know that that could happen, and we know that the players would be more comfortable with it and more competitive with it. The fact that Ruben Amorim, like we said yesterday, and I've been told, and it has been well reported as well, he has gone back in again after the Brentford game and said, nope, not changing it. Never going to change. It's always going to be this way. We're always going to have Dalot on the left wing-back position or right wing-back position. It's always going to be Bruno in the two-man midfield in a world where midfields are dominant in the Premier League. You need at least three unless you've got two of the world's best. Let's be honest. Agate, Bruno, not the world's best. Still going with the two, making it obvious for managers like Andrews at Brentford to easily bypass that midfield and beat us with simple tactics. If simple tactics for a man that's never managed a football club in his life before, which is what Keith Andrews is at Brentford, he's only been an assistant manager and coach, and this is the highest level he's been, assistant at Brentford. For him to come in and easily plot his way around the Ruben system, it's clearly not good enough. I mean, come on. You'll have games where you get like the start against Chelsea and we get lucky and we get the red card. Do we actually feel like United would have won that game against Chelsea if they were down to 10 men? The second half told us no, because we couldn't create anything. Big start, got the break, took the win. Well done, United. But past that, it was looking like Chelsea, if they'd have kept their good players on the pitch, would have really challenged Manchester United in that one. And we could be right now looking at a scenario where Ruben Amorim has only got one win this season. And I think he might not have even made Sunderland. That's the point. The Chelsea game kept him afloat. If he'd have lost that game and then lost to Brentford, I don't think he gets to Sunderland. Sunderland is D-Day for Ruben Amorim. It's quite clear. The system doesn't work. Is Glasner going to change that and be a little bit more open to the players that we've got? Because we don't want any of what I've just said to be happening all over again, just with a different manager. I understand that Glasner is a different man. He has different ideas, probably has different triggers for presses and the way that they play and things like this. But we're all scared now that this system is going to be put in place and managers are going to try and shoehorn players in. Honestly, if I see Glasner come in and he plays Dalot in that side, or he plays Bruno in the central midfield role in a 3-4-3, I would feel like I am. And look, I don't want to. I would obviously give him a chance, but I'm scared instantly by that thought. I know Glasner might be a different manager. He might get more out of these players. He might be able to turn Bruno around. I just don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk it. The proof is there. Any manager worth his weight in gold is going to look at where these players have performed well throughout their careers and utilise that. That's what managers do. And I've said this so many times, and this is my line. Ruben's tried to be the coach and he's failed. He's not willing to be a manager in terms of changing it and moving personnel around, because that's what they do. So Alex Ferguson did it perfectly. He allowed people to coach and then he managed. Yes, everyone can coach and manage. That's not the point I'm making here. But Ruben has tried to coach these players for the last year and turn them into a 3-4-3 attacking team. It's not worked, and he's not willing to change. So if he's not willing to be a manager and move players around and tweak things, then he needs to go. It's as simple as that. Glasner, I cannot see him being... do you know what? On this one, it's not even if Glasner is that. I would expect now Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada to be looking at exactly that. If they don't learn off that, then them two need to be questioned at Manchester United. They need to be looked at with what's going on right now at the football club. And actually on that takes me into the situation of the hierarchy at Manchester United. And this is where Laurie Whitwell has come in. And he was talking on Talk of the Devils on the Athletic podcast. And this is what he was saying. If Ruben goes, does that bring the spotlight on Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox, on other people that were involved in getting to this point? So I think that's why they would ultimately want to see it through, and I think they do still feel like it could still work. But I think you're getting to the point now where those questions are going to become louder and louder, and ultimately results will dictate it. I think it's fragile. I do think that the hierarchy wants it to work because they know what the ramifications are. But I feel that you can't ignore the results if they continue like this. So Laurie Whitwell then going in to the hierarchy. And do you know what? If Ruben goes, the questions have to be asked about Barada, about Wilcox, about the management team that has been put in place by Ineos and Sir Jim Radcliffe. They need to be talked about as well in this, because they have been big backers and big advocates and were part of it. Kaz has just reminded me now, it was Dan Ashworth that was fired, who really probably didn't want Ruben Amorim in at Manchester United. He's looking like he's the one coming away with this with his reputation intact at the moment, because if it gets to this weekend and Ruben Amorim doesn't even make a year as the manager, and that will officially be the worst that we've ever seen, results, time, everything, money spent, the lots, he will officially be Manchester United's worst ever manager. And Dan Ashworth, who was fired by Ineos, actually said he didn't want them. It was reported at the time, and I'm pretty certain that was a big conversation that was going on. Could you imagine what he's like now, sitting there thinking? So, like Laurie Whitwell says, they need it to work. They have to make it work. And we said this when Ruben was coming in. Ineos need this to work because they have gone fully behind him with everything that's gone on. Everything that he did behind the scenes. And if, for instance, now they get to a point where they cannot keep Ruben Amorim, and it is Glasner, my God, think this is and would have to be described as last chance saloon for both Barada and Wilcox as well. And I know Barada's done fantastic stuff before in his career. I know that Jason Wilcox has done good things before with Manchester City's academy and was in his short time at Southampton, seemed to be right on track with what was necessary and had things really moving in the right direction at Southampton. Reputations. This right now, again, Have they made the biggest mistake ever in going fully behind Ruben Amorim? This was something that we didn't think was going to happen back when Ruben came in. It was like a million miles away from thinking that it could get any worse for Manchester United, but it's got worse. And now people are looking at them and saying, what are you going to do? Are you going to make the decision? So completely understanding of where Laurie Whitwell is there, but like he says there, The Athletic and Laurie Wright in particular, above all of the journalists that I know and do write about Manchester United, would always be the one that was probably more grounded in terms of not being over the top with his reports. He would only come out with something if it was a definite or it was something he knew 100%. There's no sort of speculation coming from The Athletic. But like you read them words there, the results will dictate. And he knows, and the way that he's talking and the way that he said that last night, you can feel that. You can feel it in his voice when he says it. Again, I think Gary Neville was the one who said it before. We've all seen this movie. It's got the inevitable outcome right now, and unfortunately, the man that we thought was going to turn United around, the man that I thought was going to turn United around, the one that had everything going on right in the background, Ruben Amorim, looks like the pressure is getting too much for him right now. All of that, though, looking at it, I'm going to come into the comments now as well, everybody, so get them ready on your thoughts on this. Is Glasner the right man? Because you're hoping that this is a mistake that they learn from, because one more and then I'm out. I don't know. I don't know what happens past that. I cannot even think that far down the line. If they get this next one wrong, then, Ineos's reputation at Manchester United then, well, you're looking, wowzer. That, I think, will be dragged through the gutters by the Man United fan base, 100%. All right, let's get into the comments section. Give me your thoughts, everybody. We've got loads of people coming in. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning. Please pop a like on the video if you haven't already, if you're enjoying the content and your updates on United. Make sure you also hit that subscribe button. I have dropped a link into the live pub watch-along, which we are organising for the Spurs game on the 8th of November. The link wasn't working before, but it is now. I didn't even realise. Sorry about that if anyone did look into that. But that's in the live chat now, in the description if you're catching up later on. If you want to join me for the Spurs game, have a few drinks, then get onto that link and be part of it, everybody. Right, Ant says, biggest question is pressure. It's a killer. Well, Ruben has highlighted the pressure at Manchester United nearly every single time the media has spoken to him. And I don't know, you could decide yourselves whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I just look at it now and it just looks like the players are just feeding off what Ruben says, and the pressure of playing for Manchester United is too much for these players. We're not good enough to play. We're not ready enough to play in the Champions League. They're playing like Ruben's describing right now. And sometimes I'm not saying he isn't a good manager. I'm not saying he isn't he isn't good at what he does, but he's not getting anything out of these players right now. And you've got to question what he's actually saying is having an effect on them. We know that these players are fragile. We don't want the majority of them to be here at the football club because of their failings before. But at the moment in time, you need someone to get something out of them. We're not asking for much. Just get something. Changing the manager now will not fix the problem. In terms of what, more context on that, Carrie. Thank you for the super chats. Won't fix the problem. So what? We carry on with this problem. What's the better problem? What's the lesser of the two evils, you would say? Because with Ruben in, we're hurtling towards relegation. So putting another manager in now is going to stop us being relegated. I think you've got to look at it that way, mate, at this point. It's all right saying it's not going to fix it, but you need to add more context to that. What would you do at this point? Would you keep Ruben Amorim then, is what you're saying? Because then I'd have to question that quite clearly. It's not working right now. So anyone who's saying this isn't going to fix it, what do we do then? That's all I'm asking. Just put a little bit more context to what you're saying there, everybody. But thank you again for the super chats. Brian says, Wilcox and Barada are clueless. Just look at the goalkeeper and midfield situation. No two formations that crumble when players get injured. Interim all the way. And so Brian's going with the interim manager and making sure you get somebody else in the summer, I'm guessing, Brian. Lose to Sunderland, sack Amorim, watch these, see you next Tuesdays, go and beat Liverpool, guaranteed. We play when we want, and Wilcox needs to answer for it too. Idiots is what Ant is saying. See, this is what I knew would happen. People now going fully on the management team of Manchester United. And you know what? You do have to look at that and say that they are a big part of it. I just said there then, like, from what Laurie Whitwell was saying, questions will be asked about them because that was their man, that was their employment, and they're the ones that are fully backing him right now. They're the ones, like what Ant said there, didn't go out and get the goalkeeper, didn't go out and get a midfielder, didn't tell Ruben Amorim, no, you're not having 2 10s. We cannot build a team around Bruno Fernandes. Surely there's some football knowledge within Manchester United's management team to tell Ruben Amorim, this is not Portugal. You cannot play Bruno in the midfield. Someone has to be doing their job there. And if I am Sir Jim Radcliffe right now, I'm a little bit peeved off that the people he has employed have not been on top of this. You could say that, for instance, Maresca at Chelsea gets all the players bought, and there are things that he just has to do with this team. He doesn't really have as much of a say on the players coming in. It does look like the sporting director role at Chelsea overrides the management roles, to be honest. And the players that they bring in, it's kind of strange, to be honest, how that works. But they do have a lot more power. Why, at Manchester United, are we allowing managers again and coaches to dictate the way that this club moves forward? There has to be someone with a bit of backbone to stand up to coaches. And if they don't like it, they're not the right manager. It's as simple as that. They're not the right manager. If they're not willing to change, they're not the right man. You have to adapt. And Manchester United, and in our greatest years, have always been the most adaptable team you could see. And we had players that were on board with that because they believed in what that manager was doing, because the results were going the right way. Because there's give and take. It's not all one man say. You have to speak to players. You have to be one-on-one with players and understand what they are, how they work and how they operate. And the word that we're getting from Carrington, that Ruben is just walking off on his own, he doesn't speak to the players, he does training sessions and then they just don't feel connected. It just feels like he's completely lost it right now. And anybody who wants to be behind Ruben Amorim, I don't even think they can be, because there's no opportunity there, it would seem, from what's being reported, for them to actually get in on a one-on-one, for instance, have a chat, have a talk, have a conversation about what their issues are and how they can improve it. Look, we're only guessing at that because we don't know the full ins and outs of what's happening at United, but still, it is a concern. I'd take Glasner, but prefer Xavi or Areola. One of the best. Don't want mid-season change. We need points now more than performance. So you take Glasner but prefer Xavi or Areola. Like Areola, you could sort of argue the point along with Glasner. Xavi is going to definitely be a mistake for Manchester United because he's not used to the Premier League. He hasn't got the players to play that he wants to play. And if we're looking at points right now, I would put him right at the bottom of the list, to be honest. You need someone who knows the Premier League, who kind of knows these players and has got a lot. I mean, I'm not saying that's like what Romano said, like Xavi. And in all of this, I don't want to disrespect Xavi and say that he's crap, by the way. I really don't. But I think in this position, we can, as a Man United fan base, actually be very, very picky with what manager we want right now. We've seen enough. And we've seen the warning signs from the next best thing of European managers coming in with zero Premier League experience. The last two, for instance, and where we're at now, hasn't worked for United. Xavi is studying the Premier League, according to Romano, and that's fine. He may be looking at this Man United team and thinking, I can do something with it, and I can adapt. I don't want to dismiss him out of hand, but I just think at this point, as a fan base, we need to be looking at managers that are actively used to what the Premier League is, the demands, the pressure, and everything around what is the fiercest and most competitive league in the world. And until you're in it, you don't know it. And that has been proven by other managers coming in. It is. Unless you've got an absolute world-beating side for a manager to walk into and just kickstart and get going straight away, give him plays that he wants, then it's just not going to work. And in the situation United are in, we're a million miles away from that right now. We're all over the place. So you need someone who's going to come and bring this team together and make the most out of what we've got right now. Is that Xavi? No, it's not. Could it be Glasner? Yes, because he has been absolutely robbed of all his best players at Crystal Palace. Not brought anybody else in this season so far. Has had Adam Wharton, one of the best midfielders in the Premier League, missing for the majority of his season so far. And has still got Crystal Palace in the top 4, unbeaten, and has already beaten Liverpool this season. Again, it's 2 trophies more than Ruben Amorim right now as well. Do you see where I'm going with it? Like, he has got a track record of making the most out of a situation, and he's calm about it, and the players obviously feed into what he wants. He might just be a better man manager than Ruben Amorim is. That's all we're saying with this one. Someone who will play the Manchester United way. The fan, yeah, I get it. The fans want to see someone who's going to play the Man United way. What is the Man United way right now? The last 10 years, have we seen it at all? I mean, all you could say is, and this is what a lot of fans are saying to me right now, is they just want to enjoy watching Manchester United again. That's it. And at the moment, you have to find somebody. If you're going to sack Ruben now, let's not forget, we still got 3 months till that transfer window opens. You have to find somebody who can use these players now, who can use what we've got in this squad. Now, I'm sure, like what Jamie Carragher just said, it's not rocket science. Any one of us could go and lay in that position, lay out that formation and the positions for them players. And United, you would feel looking at it, feel comfortable. I just want to go into a game, and you will hear me say this all of the time on the watch-alongs. Again, by the way, this weekend, another watch-along for the Sunderland game. Big one this weekend as well. And watch-alongs throughout this week as well for all of the European games as well on Football Talks, everybody. You would have heard me say in many commentaries and many of other shows with going into games, like, I just want to know when that lineup comes in. I'm talking like the 1 to 11, when you see him come in, I want to be able to look at that and know where every single one of them players is going to play on the pitch. And you can say that about Newcastle, Arsenal, City, Liverpool. You can say it about Chelsea. You can say it about any of them top sides, the Bournemouth, the Crystal Palaces, Sunderland even, all of them. Every one of them teams above us in the league, when they come up with their 11, you could go, he's there, he's there, he's there, he's there. With Man United, it is potluck. It's like playing bleeding bingo. You don't know what number's going to come out where on that pitch and on that diagram and that formation. He could be playing there this week. He could be over there. He could be dropped back into this position. It's like, stop messing around with the team. Stop messing around with the players. Any manager that's moving players all over the pitch into different positions every single week is a man that's lost control. And that just looks like what's happened to me right now. It's out of pure desperation to make his point that this formation will work, and it is sinking in fast. That's what's happening right now. I would just love that to happen. Like, the teams come out and I know he's going to play there, he's going to play there. I would love that. Red Ed says, Amorim outers, please tell how you're fixing things. In terms of Amorim inners though as well, Red, on this one. If you're going to go down that road, are you happy with it continue the way it is? How does he fix it? Because he's not going to fix it. This is the only... And I need to make this very, very clear. This isn't your normal another manager out. Oh, here come all of the outers again. Here come everybody saying it's time for another manager. This has never worked before. Oh, what are you going to do? What's the explanation? How are you going to fix this? I'm not saying that's you, Ed, by the way. I'm just saying that this is what will happen right now. This isn't the same situation. This isn't a man that is trying to play a different formation because he knows his hasn't worked. This is a man that is refusing to change a system that has been the worst in this club's history. And that's a fact. This, in the Premier League history of Manchester United, is the worst manager, worst formation, and worst this team has ever played. And that's there for everybody to see. And he will not change it. If he was changing it, and he went to a back four, and United got a couple of results, or even a close loss, or something like that, this wouldn't be the way it is now. It wouldn't. You'd have a lot of fans that were giving him the time. But it's the fact that he blatantly comes out and says, I'm not changing. This will work. Even though he has proved it won't. That's the difference this time. And that I need to keep on. I keep hammering that home to everybody, because it's not like we're turning again and we're impatient and we get what we deserve and all of this. It's nothing to do with that. It's the fact that this guy, Ruben, has buried himself. And he's buried his head in the sand by the sounds of it as well. Let's get some more comments in on this as well. Ant says, the Man United way is Ole. That's it. No one else. But to be honest, mate, the football under Ole at the end as well was bad. And you can't say that it wasn't. You may get Ole for an interim, and you might get a bit of a song and a tune out of these Man United players. But long term, I don't think Ole's the answer at all. I really don't. So Xavi is going to try and turn United players into tiki-taka in 6 months to become the Barca of the Premier League. They cannot even play 3-4-3, as says PC Master. Cal says Iriola or Emery for me, but I wouldn't be unhappy with Glasner. I just want away from the back three. I think that was the general sort of conversation we was having last night. That was the only concern with Glasner. The reason, by the way, we're talking about Glasner, everybody, just to recap from the start of the show, if you are just joining us now, is that Manchester United's job, if it was available, according to Ben Jacobs, and United went calling to Oliver Glasner, he would jump at the opportunity right now. That's it. In terms of other managers as well, there is a release clause for Iriola at Bournemouth. There is also a release clause for Marco Silva at Fulham. His name has also been mentioned in conversations and reports as well. Both of them have release clauses, according to reports, in their contracts. So if United wanted to go and get them managers, they would know exactly how much they would need to pay to get an Iriola or a Marco Silva in. At least the focus on the front line in the summer doesn't create too much damage if we change manager and formation. True, we would be more worried if we committed to a couple of bang average wing-backs. Look, we have got room to improve, but the work that was done in the summer, I think actually was good work, because even if Ruben leaves, we have still got players there that can play any system that any manager wants. We're not getting a tune out of him in 3-4-3, but can you imagine a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-2-1-3 or a 4-3-3 with these players? I can fully imagine that system and that formation. I can imagine a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1 in this squad with the players that we've got. It's like every single formation that there is in football is more suited to the players we've got, but Ruben wants to keep on playing the 3-4-3. That's what it looks like, and that's what everybody's talking about right now. Thanks for that super chat, Sean, but I really appreciate that, mate. I reckon I could do better with that squad than Amorim 100%. And that goes for everyone on here, because we would have noticed months ago that this system is hopeless on this squad. Al also says Oliver Glasner needs midfielders and wing-backs. We don't have the players Glasner needs. Are Ineos going to get him the players? Look, in time they might do, but Glasner might look at Man United and think like he can play a different formation. Don't think that every single manager just plays one formation. This is why we're angry with Ruben, because we know he knows different formations. You don't get coached and do your badges working off one formation. You do one formation and go with it because it's been successful for you. But in your career, you will find yourself changing. And I am sure if Ruben changed his ways, he would be a top manager in Europe somewhere. If he thinks that 3-4-3 is the way forward at top flight football, he's never going to manage in England ever again. No one's going to take him. And not at the top level anyway. You might get away with that in Italy. You might get away with it in parts of Spain, like it has done in Portugal. You're not going to get away with it in England. So Ruben Amorim's time in England is going to be very short, because I don't see any other English manager ever, any other English club taking him on again. And I don't like saying that. I think he's a top guy, and I think he is a good coach in a way. But I think this job has just proved to be too big for him, unfortunately. The Man United way is attack with pace, power, penetration, and unpredictability. The key was always to make sure that we let our players play to their strengths, says George. We'll see, won't we? In terms of Glasner, again, that's the key really to it, isn't it? It's, will Glasner be adaptable? I think that's what Wilcox and Barada need to be talking about. Into other news as well. Just on what Romano said, actually, Manchester United, the situation with Ruben Amorim is he is not safe. And this is after what Romano said the day before as well. So the day before he said he's obviously still being backed by Ineos, but Romano's changed his tune a little bit. And the talk about Saturday and the Sunderland game looks crucial because Manchester United will demand results, Ruben said, and that includes this Saturday. This Saturday's the last game before international break, and you know what's going to happen. All of the talk, if this goes wrong on Saturday, is going to be it's going to be an absolute pile-on to Ruben Amorim and to Ineos. It's going to be exactly the same as it was last season. I said this last night. I remember looking, and Sky were even out in London waiting for Manchester United's monthly meeting and everyone that was there. I remember the pictures and we were all watching it. We were all watching the news thinking, are we going to get a decision here? Is something going to come out of this Manchester United meeting? Well, we know the meetings happen. We know the meeting's going to take place again in the next couple of weeks over international break, as it always does. And if we lose to Sunderland, I am fully convinced that that is it. There will be a new man in by the time we go out on the pitch at Anfield come the end of the international break. That will be a definite. And the way that Romano's talking there, he's doing his little Romano code again. And it starts, and it is important this Saturday as well against Sunderland. If he doesn't win against Sunderland, I think it's all over. In fact, if he draws against Sunderland, I think it's all over for Ruben Amorim. That's my prediction anyway. If they stubbornly hold on to him and he's there against Liverpool, it could be after Liverpool. It could be after Brighton, because I see Manchester United with Ruben Amorim losing every single one of them games that we've got after the next international break. All 4 of them, from the way we're playing, just from the teams and the managers that they've got that have already schooled Manchester United before. That is just, look, I'm just saying what I think is going to happen from what I've seen. If United turn it around, I'd be absolutely buzzing with it. But look, I'm not going to blindly back Manchester United right now. I think we might scrape a win or get a draw against Sunderland this weekend. It's not going to convince me that this team is right under Ruben Amorim, though. It's definitely not. Anyway, that's the reports of the meeting that happened yesterday. We said that was complete garbage, that Ruben was told by Ineos yesterday he needs to change his formation, and he was left flabbergasted. That didn't happen, and we said that last night. But people are still saying there was a meeting, and then saying that they don't actually know what the meeting was about. Look, meetings happen every day at Manchester United. And people are just jumping onto this now because Ruben's on a knife edge with his job. So any meeting at Manchester United is going to be put out into the media and made a big deal of. And it could be the meeting that decides Ruben Amorim's future. Manchester United have pulled the plug on Ruben Amorim. All of that is just going to come now through the next few weeks. And you know, you've seen it before, like we said. It was the same with Ten Hag, and it'll be the same again. The media will run their stories, and they will say exactly what they think is being said instead of what is being said. And they're guessing, like everybody else. It's as simple as that. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a meeting yesterday, because like I said, Man United have meetings every single day with different things. It's a massive institution. It's a business. So, yeah, look, that's what it is. And like we said just a minute ago there will be another meeting where all of the board of directors come together like Sir Jim has. We know this is a fact because it is there every single month, and he goes from different city to city around the world in having these meetings. So that's what we know happens at United and how they operate. So let's see if anything comes of that. I fully expect within that meeting, if we lose to Sunderland, that it's done. By the way, Tyrell Malacia is now effectively a first-team player again. He's back in with the Manchester United first-team squad training. He's away now from the under-21s, and we are now, I don't know if we're ever going to see him again. It's just training, that's all. He's back with the first-team squad. He is no longer a loner in the bomb squad. Yeah, because that was the only player left. But, yeah, Ruben made him train with the 21s at first. A humbling experience for Tyrell Malacia, really is. I fully expect that lad to be gone in January, alone or something like that. And then what we're looking at there is the end of the bomb squad officially. That, I think, is where we're at right now with Tyrell. I don't think he's going to get brought back into the squad. Like, people will say, is Tyrell Malacia now going to come back in? Is he going to come back in the Man United squad and help us out? And yeah, I mean, no, is the answer to that one, because we know that Tyrell Malacia isn't good enough. And look, you could easily say that Tyrell Malacia in a back four could feature and could be part of a matchday squad at some point. Look, anything's possible. But with Ruben, and you know how stubborn he is, as long as Ruben's there, look, if a new man comes in and fancies Tyrell, I don't think his time at United is going to last any longer than the June 2026 transfer window. He will be gone, but that is just another update there. He has worked his way back in to the Manchester United first team squad in training, and that is where we're at with him right now. Just checking through all the news and everything that's being spoken about through the media and social media. Well, we're live right now. Sensational reports also suggest Sean Dyche as a possible successor to Ruben Amorim from the MEN. Come on now. Yeah, we're getting into silly season's finished. The transfer window is closed. But I tell you what, one thing that eclipses the transfer window with Manchester United is manager speculation. My word. Sean Dyche. Do I think Sean Dyche will get more out of this team than Ruben Amorim right now? Yep, I do. I really do. I think straightforward, simple tactics would benefit Man United right now. Do I think Sean Dyche is the man to take United forward? God, no. Do I heck? But all of these reports are coming out. Now, this is how far United have dropped. That even a little report on Sean Dyche would be spoken about by someone like the MEN. Forget it. Yes, he would get more out of Man United right now, because I think anybody would. That's it. Sean Dyche is not the man for Manchester United. Let that one go quickly, everybody. But it's still funny listening to people talk about this. Quick, just to bring you up to date with what Romano actually said. Manchester United expects results starting from the next match, and Ruben Amorim's position is not entirely secure. The club respects him, but is awaiting improvement. Again, Saturday. A quick report has been done in terms of what Ineos have done behind the scenes. This has all gone by the by because United is so crap and no one will talk about this. But from 2023 up to 2026 in terms of the season, so 22-23, Manchester United's wage bill was £242 million. That with the Glazers' sole ownership. 2023-24, Glazers' sole ownership again. The wage bill was down to 195. Ineos' first season in Manchester United, 2024-25, £171 million wage bill for Manchester United. And this season, 25-26, Manchester United's wage bill is now down to a £158 million a year annual wage bill. So it's gone from 242 million a year to 158 million a year in the space of 4 years. With Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Maguire, Shaw, Malacia, all of these players off the books, Manchester United are looking to drop that even more. Just want to make a point about this. That sounds great, and it sounds like the cuts are working, and it sounds like we're not overpaying players anymore. I want to be paying players high wages because that means players have hit their bonuses and are performing well. I don't care that Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, all of these clubs are ahead of us when it comes to how much they're paying their players. I don't care. Do you know why? Because they're all competing in the Champions League and can afford them wages. And it's probably made up with a lot of bonuses. Why? Because them players have actually performed well. So where I like the fact that we are now where we should be in terms of a wage bill for the players we've got, a little bit less for me. In fact, if you take them players off, United are just over £100 million in wages a year, which is staggering considering we was at £250 million 4 years ago. But yet that's good and all well, but I would rather be paying the players high wages because they're performing well. Just wanted to make a point of that there because that has been actually posted out as well in terms of what Ineos are doing. And I'm not backing Ineos up and using that as an excuse to prove that Ineos are the right thing for Manchester United. Right now, the most relevant thing for me is getting the right man in charge and getting something out of this team right now. And I'm looking at Wilcox, I'm looking at Berardi, and I'm disappointed. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'll say it as it is, as you all know. I've backed them and told everybody constantly that Ineos are trying to make this club good again. But somewhere inside Manchester United has dropped a little bit of a clanger here, and fully, blindly backing Ruben Amorim has got us into a bit of a hole. I'm just glad, like the comment said before, the players we have bought in this summer, Senna Lammers, we've not even seen him play yet. Could be a brilliant goalkeeper. And the front three, that money wasn't wasted, I don't think. It was not wasted. I think we have got talent in this team. I really do. And I think any manager will be able to get something out of them players. So that is the one thing we take away from Ineos. Good investment, the right players, the right prices paid, the right wages paid. We're not overpaying for these players, but they're players that can definitely work with another manager and another system. Everybody else in the squad, you're hand-picking like Yoro, De Ligt, Mazraoui. Yes, I want all of them. I'd keep Leach for now. I'd keep Dorgu for now. Get rid of Dallo, get rid of Shaw, get rid of Maguire, get rid of Casemiro, get rid of Agate, get rid of Bruno Fernandes in the summer, and Man United move forward from there. Keep Ahmad as well. You start to working the brilliant, talented academy players that we've got coming through the ranks right now as well. You can move forward. So there is a bit of shining light there for Manchester United, a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, you could say, in that at least we haven't wasted our money this summer on Amorim signings. All of them players are perfectly capable that we brought in working with a Glasner, Iriola, Emery, whoever it may be that comes in. Even if it's an interim manager, you cannot fail with that talent. And surely someone will be able to get a tune out of these players. A couple of chats to come in. Let's get in some more comments, everybody. Pile in there, everyone. A couple of super chats in fact, from Ant. First of all, formation, system, yada yada. Those things don't explain the inability to do basic grassroots things. A pass, move, track a man, find space, and basics. I looked at, someone put a clip online. A good point to make there, Ant, as well, mate. Someone put a clip online of Napoli against AC Milan and their game this week. And there was a point, Napoli are 2-1 down, and AC Milan counter on them. And there's 7 Napoli players who bust an absolute gut to get back and win the ball back against one forward. 7 Napoli players chasing the game, and you're thinking AC Milan have broke away and they've got all of their players forward, Napoli. But 7 of them players are chasing back to win the ball back of one AC Milan striker. 7. That there is commitment. And like Anne said, simple, basic things with these players they are not doing. And like the report from Samuel Lucker said, the players yesterday, the players are astounded by how quickly this has spiraled out of control and how badly their form has gotten out of control as well. Look at yourself in the mirror, man. Like, that's pathetic. It really is. You are pathetic right now as a Manchester United player. And I don't care. I don't care. That goes to every single one of them right now. And there are players that I know are better than others, and in time will be the right players like we just described that can work under any manager. But every single one of them men in a red shirt right now needs to go and have a good, long, hard look at themselves in the mirror and ask himself the question, am I doing enough? And I think there'll be a lot of Man United fans on the other side of that mirror just shouting back at them, no, you're not, mate. You're really not. You're letting everyone down at this football club. And again, that is also a big part of this. But it does have an impact if the man at the top seems to be disconnected and isn't really talking to the players or giving them a chance in a certain system. Or look, you're the manager. At the end of the day, the problem is the players. The players are all over the place, and that's a disgrace. And they can do more, but you've got to manage them. You have to get more. That's your job. Your one job is to get the most out of that squad. Whether it's working or not, whether you can use the excuse that they're not giving enough or not, you still have to get more out of that team. And he's not. And that's why we're talking where we are now. And the news of Glasner walking into Manchester United is purely because he feels he can do this job. And he knows what he can do at Manchester United. For someone to come out and say, I'm there now, says to me that he knows what he's talking about, or he believes in what he's talking about, and can come to Manchester United. Look, it could come down to just having a better manager than Ruben Amorim, because all of the talk is, at the moment, that he isn't that. So, yeah. Redhead says, with no proven goalkeeper and a midfield lacking pace and strength, any manager is going to struggle in the EPL, really. Again, but the word manager. 3 midfielders, mate. And let's not forget, to back that up, Ed, as well, and I said this to someone yesterday as well, Ruben was the one who came out in April and said, we don't want Bruno Fernandes to leave. We're building a team around Bruno Fernandes. He then went out and said yes to 2 10s and a striker instead of a number 8. He could have bought a midfielder, mate. I'm sorry. He says that he has a say on the transfers and he would only bring them transfers in if he said yes. He has to give his go to it. He wanted Bruno in midfield. That was clear. That was his plan. The good times are coming because he knew that Bruno Fernandes had committed to Manchester United, and that was on Ruben. That was on Ruben. He wanted Bruno in midfield, and he went out and bought the 10s to replace him, and now we've got an unbalanced midfield. You play 3 players in midfield to balance what the Premier League is. You have to adapt. You made the mistake in the window by thinking Bruno could do this role next to Agate or Casemiro. You now have to deal with the consequences of that, because it is clear that every manager in the Premier League is finding it easier to counter that system. And everybody has found it easier to counter that system. Just put it into perspective, that's all. But thanks for the super chat, mates. And thank you, everybody, for being part of the show. Don't forget, everyone, tickets for the live watch-along live in the chat there. Get into the description as well after the show is finished. If you are catching up later on, the link is there. It is now working. Sorry, it hasn't been working the other day. I had no idea until Kaz told me last night. So, yeah, we're back on track with this now. So, please, again, get onto that if you want to join us for that Spurs game in the pub. Live watch along, everyone. All the other links to Match Bingo and everything. I will be bringing you an update on Match Bingo in this evening's show as well, everybody. You want to stay tuned for that later on. So, yeah, big announcement coming there as well. And, of course, don't forget, tonight we have got Champions League football. We've got it all the way through the week again on Football Talks, our other channel. Link in the description. Also, if you're not subscribed to Football Talks already, please get across there as well. That's my other channel where we do all of the other Premier League and European football stuff. The poll to finish up. Would you take Oliver Glasner now at Manchester United? Over 2,000 votes this morning have said 67% yes, 33% no. That poll pretty much saying exactly how it is, and let's just see. Looks like Saturday is a big day for Ruben Amorim. I'll bring you up to date throughout the day with all the other updates. Thank you, mods in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for your comments and getting involved in the show. Thank you for all the super chats, as always. I will see you all later on. Have a fantastic day, everybody.